We're going to start off in verse 1. It was about this time that King Herod arrested some who belonged to the church, intending to persecute them. Now this King Herod, you see the name Herod mentioned quite a bit in the New Testament, but there's several different ones. Okay, the first Herod, this is the one this is talking about, is King Herod Agrippa the First. He is the grandson of Herod the Great. Herod the Great was the Herod that was in charge of this area when Jesus was born. And if you know the story, when Jesus was born, Herod found out about it and he tried to kill all newborn boys under the age of 2. That was this guy's grandfather. Okay? His uncle was Herod Antipas, who was the guy in charge of part of the trial that crucified Jesus. So his grandfather tried to have Jesus killed. His uncle resided over part of the trial that sent Jesus to be crucified. And now he is kind of continuing on the family legacy, if you will. Okay? Persecuting the church, those who would follow after Jesus. So a decade into it, this guy's continuing his family legacy. And now Acts chapter 12, verse 2. He, meaning Herod, had James, the brother of John, put to death with the sword. When he saw that this met with approval among the Jews, he proceeded to seize Peter also. This happened during the festival of unleavened bread. After arresting him, he put him in prison, handing him over to be guarded by 4 squads of 4 soldiers each. Herod intending to bring him out for public trial after the Passover. So what do we see in these verses? One, this is a significant event. He has James killed. James is one of the 12 apostles, and he's the first of the 12 to be martyred. We saw where Stephen was a deacon elected in the church, and he was martyred. He was not one of the apostles. This was the first apostle to be martyred. James had him killed with the sword. Most likely meant they had him beheaded. And he's arrested other people who belong to the church, other people who would devote their lives to Jesus and who are following after him. This is the James that's mentioned here is James, the brother of John. Their father's name is Zebedee. These are 2 of the people that followed Jesus the same day that Jesus asked Peter to come follow him. Okay? The miraculous catch of fish. Jesus says, drop your nets and follow me. Peter came, and then James and John come along with them. This is the same James who was with his brother John. They're walking with Jesus, and they say, hey, when we get to heaven, or when you set your kingdom up, can you just decree that one of us sits at your left hand and the other sits at your right hand? And Jesus pointedly says to them, you don't know what you're asking. Can you drink the cup of which I'm about to be baptized with? And what he's basically saying, guys, you have no idea. I'm about to be crucified. Do you want to share in that? And then Jesus follows it up and says, you will, in fact, share in this with me. But to sit at my left and right, that's for my Father in heaven to decide. And so we see the fulfilling of kind of that prophecy. Jesus is basically letting him know, James, yeah, you're probably going to die with me. You're going to die for me. And John's the only one of the 12 apostles who doesn't end up being martyred, but it's not for lack of effort. They tried to boil John in oil. They tried to kill him several times. He just wouldn't die. He just wouldn't die. It's interesting, and I bring this up just as a point that says, is your faith real? Are you in it for you, or are you in it for Jesus? Because being in it means there will come testing. there will come the trial. There will come the offense. There will come the people and the forces against you. Darkness hates light, but thank goodness we have so much light in us that extinguishes the darkness. You will face the persecution, but understand it's not because of you. It's because of him. Now we see that, Herod had some excitement generated because he had James killed. And so he gets Peter also. He's like, that one, I really want that one. He's the bold loudmouth of the group. If I can silence that guy, man, the Jews here are going to be, they're going to love it. And so he arrests Peter. But he doesn't just arrest Peter. Notice what it says there in verse 4. He had him in prison, and then he handed him over to 4 squads of 4 soldiers each. 16 soldiers. It's normal in that day for the practice to have them handed over to a squad of soldiers. Okay? 4 guys to watch one dude. This guy's got 16 of them on him. All right? 16 soldiers guarded him. So let's continue on in verse 5. So Peter was kept in prison, but the church was earnestly praying to God for him. Peter was in prison for a week. The festival of unleavened bread lasts for a week, ending with Passover. Herod couldn't kill him. It was against the custom to have Peter killed until after Passover during this festival time. It was kind of a sacred time. And so the church rallied and said,